Good morning and welcome. My name is Monica Samantha. I am a event specialist here at the Sonoma County Libraries. I am joined by my colleague, Vicki Chavez, a librarian at the Windsor Library. And our interpretation services are being offered by Julie Burns of Communication Bridge. We are pleased to partner with the SoCo Department of Emergency Management to offer this program. A few reminders for today's event. Please keep yourself muted during the program. There will be time for Q&A at the end. If you have a question for the presenters, please ask it in the chat feature. We will be doing our best to keep track of all the questions, but we'll be answering them at the end of the program. So thank you all for joining us. I'm now going to welcome Dr. Nancy Brown, the Community Preparedness Program Manager for the Sonoma County Department of Emergency Management. Take it away, Nancy.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the great crowd we have here today. So heartened that everybody recognizes the need to really take a look at your preparedness in your home and make sure that you're ready to go. I think those of you who have started to take steps towards being more prepared recognize the great comfort that it gives you and the empowerment that it gives you to know that you've done what you can. So if there is a disaster, you know what to do and you're ready to go. Today, we're going to talk about different products that go in your go bags. And this is a new way for us to talk about go bags. And very often people ask us different products, different choices. Should we use this? Should we use that? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So we're really going to take at some of the more popular things that we do in emergency management preparation and kind of give you a rundown. Now, we're not necessarily recommending specific products, but we are going to give you highlights when we reviewed them of what we thought was good and bad about each of these different products, and so that you can make a really good informed choice. So starting off today, we have Sam Wallace, who is going to talk about NOAA weather radios. Sam, take it away.
Oh, well, thank you, Nancy. So in everybody's go bag, if you have to move, one of the things we really want you to be able to do is just keep on receiving information as you get out there. Of course, all of you probably have a cell phone at this point, but we can't be 100% sure that that cell phone is working in a disaster. So that's why we wanted you to have some sort of radio, preferably a NOAA weather radio, in your kit and ready to go. And I've got a few here that I'd like to show you. This one is this little guy right here. It's a Gavost emergency flashlight radio. And this has got a whole bunch of cool features. It comes in yellow and green. Okay, that's not that big of a thing. Let's talk about some of the things that are important. It is solar powered. It has itself a little solar powered panel on the top there. And if you don't have the sun, then it does come with a little crank that has its own internal generator so that you can keep the power going to your radio, even if the battery does run out. It can be used as both a lamp by just flipping up this pit right here, or just as a flashlight. So this is a good multi-tool to have, but the important part, as far as I'm concerned, is it is a radio. It can you can turn it on and you can listen to AM, FM, and of course you can listen to the NOAA weather station, which is going to be putting out special weather alerts while this is going on. Now, what does all this cost you? Well, this little guy is only about $36. And if you have it, that gives you just all those tools in one place. Now, what does it lack? It doesn't have the special NOAA weather radio alarm. You can listen to the NOAA weather radio station, but it won't turn itself on like other NOAA products and give you an alarm. And also, curiously enough, this one doesn't plug in. So if you don't charge it through cranking it or through solar power, there's no real way to plug it in. But another nice feature, especially if you have a cell phone, it does include a port for charging your cell phone from it. So that's kind of a handy thing to have right there. Let's compare that to another thing. This one, $36. Now, if you want something a little more and a little more versatile, I have here a Midland Base Camp XT511, kind of a cool name. And this has a whole lot of options. Now, it is kind of large, so this may not fit in your go bag as easily. But if you want power or ways of powering it, this has got literally everything. It's got an internal rechargeable battery. It's got a DC adapter that you can plug in to keep the electricity going to you. It has the option of putting in AA batteries that you can swap out. So if you have no source of power, you can still get it. And of course, you have the handy crank function that allows you to generate your own power if you absolutely have no other option. It does also have a little flashlight, although it doesn't have the lamp option. And of course, it's got the AM, FM, and the weather channel that is all there. And it will receive weather alerts. So this is kind of a handy thing right off the bat. The one thing it has that is especially important is that it has an integrated GMRS two-way radio. This is important, and many communities out there are adopting the GMRS radio system for emergency communications, for instance, with your little COPE group or your CERT group that's in the area. So this allows you to do two-way communications with other people that have a GMRS radio. You know, this one, it's a little pricey. This ran me about $90 to purchase. But again, it's got a lot of options and a lot of things that you can do with it. So I want to also show you another radio that you can have, and that is, again, a Midland product. Although I don't necessarily endorse Midland more than anything else, it just so happens that this one is a very common radio that we're using in Sonoma County. We've been distributing these through Santa Rosa and other fire agencies. This is a good thing to have, not just in your go bag, but in your home. This has a lot of good options. It plugs into the wall so that you'll be getting constant power under normal circumstances, but it does have a backup battery system using AA batteries in case the power goes out. There's no flashlight, and you can't charge your phone off of it, so it is limited in that way. But what it does do is allow you to listen in to those 24/7 weather alerts, and when properly set up with the Sonoma code, we can turn this on remotely and send you an alarm using the National Weather Service system. So it's got that. It's got some other good things that are even better than that, especially if you know somebody or are somebody that is hard of hearing. You can get attachments that hook up to it, including a strobe light and a bed shaker, especially if you're hard of hearing. That way the alarm can literally wake you up if you don't hear the alarm right off the bat. And in fact, let me show you really quickly what that alarm sounds like, because it's a pretty good one here. So here's what it sounds like. Better plug your ears. So it's got a fairly loud alarm that'll help wake you up that the other ones don't quite have. Now, there are other things that you can do with this. If you have poor reception in your area, on the back of it, there is a port for buying a larger antenna that you can hook up to it to help receive the signal that you get. So that's, probably the best thing about this is the price. It's only about $25. You can find them most places online. Just Google Midland WR120, and you should be able to find this fairly inexpensively online. So, well, that's about it for me. But the bottom line that I want you to leave with, I'm not sure if one of these radios is right for you, but definitely make sure that you have some sort of radio to receive information in your go bag. And pick the one that meets all of your criteria and has all the tools that you might use. So that's about all I have. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to Nancy, and she's going to be talking about go bag food. Nancy?
Thanks, Sam. And I noticed a few people in the chat were interested in getting more information on some of the different topics that you had just said. So I do want to let everybody know that we do have some recap charts that we'll be putting into the chat that you can download, and we'll also provide them to the library so we can use them as attachments to that YouTube if that's a possibility. So we'll be doing that as we go. So I have Monica working on it. I had a hard time doing it from my end, but hopefully she'll be able to get those attached. So you'll have some information you can download for yourself to take a look at. So next, and Monica, can we remove Sam's spotlight? Let's see if I can do it. Or maybe I can just ask everybody. Can everybody see me, or do you still see Sam?
We see you, Nancy.
Oh, okay. I don't. So perfect. Okay. So next, I'd like to talk about food. So I took a look at food, and I took a look at 3 different types that you might put in your go bag. So the first was these ration types of kits. The second was regular old canned foods and foods like that from the grocery store. And then the third thing I looked at was meals ready to eat, or MREs. So these are 3 different ways that you can decide to do food, and I found some interesting things about them. Here's the criteria I used for my review. I looked at how big they are, because space is very important in a go bag. I also looked at weight, because remember, you need to be able to carry these go bags, so they can't weigh so much that you can't move them. I looked at the nutritional value, and in a couple of different ways. So for me, I want to have a high fiber diet. That's important for my health. So I looked for my specific idea about high fiber, but I also looked at some other nutritional. I looked at the cost, how well they actually taste. So I realize in an emergency, you'll eat whatever you have to. But right now we're in blue skies, so we get to make some choices about what we're going to choose to eat should we need to in a disaster. I also looked at what the shelf life was, how easy they were to use, and then also special dietary options like vegan and gluten free. So a couple of choices like that. So let's go ahead and start with the actual food rations. So the food rations are actually the very smallest in size. So these are small. They're also very lightweight. So it's 5.5 ounces per day. So about a pound of food added to your actual pack. The calories are not too bad. So you get 800 to 1,200 calories depending on the brand you choose. Now, that's pretty good. I mean, certainly most of us eat a few more calories than that on an average in a day. But if you were in an emergency, that would be enough to keep your energy up and be able to think clearly and all those kinds of things that are important. Nutrition-wise, they don't tend to have fiber. They don't have a lot of protein. They're primarily carbs and fat. So those are good things to keep your energy going, but not necessarily depending on your own dietary requirements. They are also quite inexpensive. So they're about $3 to $8 for one of these packages. Now, one of these packages is actually all you need for a full 3-day supply, which is what we ask for in a go bag. So this actually has, there's 2 different ways they do it. This one has 6 servings, so 2 meals per day. This other brand that I bought on Amazon has 9 servings. So that one will give you 3 meals per day. But they're essentially the same type of thing. Now, they do have a great shelf life. So they last 5 years minimum, depending on where you keep them and how warm it is. And of course, they're the easiest thing in the world to prepare, because you just simply open the bag and start to eat it. I could not find a gluten-free option in this, but they do appear to be vegan. Now, let me show you what these things actually look like when you take them out of the package. So this is one of them opened, and as you can see, they're pretty easy to break apart. I ate some of it, and actually, you know, they're not too bad. I was expecting it to be very cardboardy, like the world's worst granola bar, but it actually tastes a little bit like a lemon shortbread cookie. So not horrible. I would definitely not say, oh, I can't eat another bite of that. I think I would be more than willing to just go ahead and eat it should there be a disaster and I needed that particular product. So that's the food ration. The next thing I looked at was, what if I just go to the grocery store and get stuff that I like, that I want to put in my go bag? So I looked at things that I like and that are good for me. So I like Campbell's soup. I like chili and beans. I tried to pick things that if I didn't have a way to heat it, I'd be willing to eat it cold. Peaches, canned peaches. I looked at these little packages for lunches of tuna salad. So a number of different things. Dried and lightweight, we have the beef jerky. But when I looked at them all, they take up more space than the food rations, of course. They're about the same space per day as an MRE is for all 3 days. So they certainly take up the most space, and it's also the heaviest. So you're looking at up to 10 pounds, depending on what you choose in your go bag. So that seemed to be quite a bit of weight. Now, this is, of course, the easiest to tailor to your personal needs. It was super easy for me to get calories as well as high fiber, good protein. by choosing the foods that have those nutritional choices. So for people who have really specific diets, the last thing you want in a disaster, for instance, is a flare-up of your colitis or these other types of things. So you may want to take a look at adding some of these items, even if it's in combined to other things, because for some people, their diet is what keeps them healthy on a daily basis is really important. And you don't want to have a compound injury, right? So you don't want to have a disaster and then cascade into a visit to the hospital. So those things are also important to keep in mind. Shelf life is the shortest. So most things from the grocery store have a 1 to 2 year shelf life. So you will have to rotate them out. But in terms of usefulness, if you pick food that you like, you can just put those into your pantry and buy new food. So there's actually no money wasted there. And then you can, of course, choose vegan or gluten or high fiber, or all those different things. So it is the easiest to actually customize, but of course, it takes up the most space. It's the heaviest. Cost-wise, it's about a medium cost. It's going to be about $8 per day for you, so $24 worth of food in your go bag for you. So that's taking a look at this. Now, the third thing I looked at was the meals ready to eat. So this is the military style. Meals ready to eat, or MREs as we call them, have a lot of different brands. You can find them online in lots of different price points. They tend to be the most expensive of the items. So they're as much as $18. You use one of these per day. So one meal ready to eat is enough for 1 day's food. They provide a lot of different things in them. They're about 1,200 calories, so enough calories for a person. They're very lightweight. So when you're looking at it, each of one of these weighs about 1 pound. So you have about 3 pounds added to your pack of weight. So not too bad there. Depending on the brand and where you store it, so whether it gets hot or whether it's really cold, these last 5 to 10 years. Now, the one thing that's kind of interesting about them is that they get a really bad rap for the way they taste, but they actually taste pretty good. And I think people are always interested to see what's in one of these, because when you buy it for your pack, you don't want to open it because now you don't have it for your pack. So I wanted to go ahead and open one up for you and kind of show you what these have in them. So in this one, this is a package of crackers. It has a hot course. This particular one is a jalapeno curry beef with potatoes, a heater bag, which I'll show you how that works. This has a package of sugar cookies. It has a little powder for some grape soda that you can put into your bottle of water. And then it has salt, pepper, a spoon. It has a little candy for you. Now, the way that these work, and this is one of the other things, is they're a little more complicated, is that it has a pouch like this and a pouch like this to heat this up. So you don't need anything else but about 2 ounces of water to heat it up. And what you do is you open this up and you slip the heater, you slip this food into this bag with water. You fold it over, then you put it back in the box. And in order to show you what this looks like, you wait about 15 minutes for it to get hot. And I wanted to go ahead and do that in advance for you. So then you take it out of the bag, and boy, is this nice and toasty. So it definitely heated it up. And then you pull this meal out. Now, one thing I want to say, one of the people, when I posted on Nextdoor about this, somebody said, oh my God, look at all the plastic. And I want to be honest, this is a packaging nightmare. So for those of you who have an environmental conscience, and I hope you all have, this is an environmental nightmare. It has plastic inside plastic with some extra plastic. So it's certainly not the type of thing you want to do on a daily basis. I think we could make some exceptions for emergencies, but again, if you go with the grocery store route, you can choose recyclable containers. So maybe that makes you feel a little better. But you just open this up, and I'm going to try to show you what this looks like, because I think you'll agree. It's pretty tasty looking. It tastes about like most stovetop meals taste, so not horrible. And it's flavored nicely. So you definitely would look forward to eating that each day. And I think you agree that, you know, it's a nice option as well. So those are the 3 basic options. And we have a chart that we'll put in the chat that'll kind of go over those 3 with you. So I think you can see, depending on who you are, you have a few choices here. Some make more sense for you. Some make more sense for other people. But I wanted you to have a really good idea of what each of these options were, so you could make a great choice for yourself. Next, we have Jorge coming up. So I'd like to have Jorge take it away, and he's going to talk about water.
Great. Thank you, Nancy, and good morning to all of you. We are talking about water, and water is very important, especially during an emergency. In your home preparedness kit, you should have a minimum of 7 days of water. So that looks like about 1 gallon per person per day. But this water is for both drinking as well as staying clean, like washing your hands. But for your go bag, it should be light enough for you to carry and still have enough water to get you through at least 3 days. So over the next couple minutes, I'll talk to you about those water options that you can keep in your go bag, and as well as my take on each. So to get started, we'll start out with your classic, widely available, cheap plastic water bottle. It's standard 16.9 ounces, and you can get it at a grocery store, convenience store, even a vending machine. You can buy them for as low as 15 to 18 cents if you buy them in a pack. Sometimes you can get them for 25 or 50 cents in a vending machine. It's portable, lightweight, and it's just simple. So having about 3 of these or so in your go bag will keep you hydrated, even if you do end up having some water in your car. You can refill them too in emergency, which also is handy, so you don't have to take out too many water bottles. Some things to consider about the water bottle is that some water bottles do have expiration dates. And this one here, for example, I've had for at least a couple of months, and it expires in January of next year. So depending on when it's made and when you buy it, you can have anywhere from 18 months to 2 years during that expiration date. And it's not so much so that the water itself expires, it's that the plastic breaks down and can leach into the water and kind of give it a plasticky taste. So keep that in mind. Whenever you do get them, put them in your go bag, write down the expiration date on the label in case it rubs off or you can't see it. So you know when to change it out. Now, a water bottle isn't a set it and forget it type of product. If you do move your go bag from time to time, check the water bottles to make sure they're not leaking, because not all water bottles are the same, especially now with the caps being a little smaller and thinner. They can easily break and cause leaks. Also, if you have a pack of water bottles in your car, make sure to keep it covered if possible. That way you can keep the water bottle longer lasting. And avoid keeping water in your car if there's extreme changes in temperature. If it gets too hot, it could expand and leak. If it gets too cold, it'll freeze, expand, and also potentially leak. So that's the plastic water bottle. Next, we'll go to the water pouches. Now these pouches, they're also a good option because they have a very long storage life. These are 5-year pouches. Again, 5 years. So they're also a lightweight as well as portable to have in your go bag, but it is a smaller amount of water per pouch. 4 of these pouches is the same amount of water as a plastic water bottle. So do keep that in mind whenever you're thinking about how much you need to have for your go bag as well as for your family. And do keep them in your go bag. Group them a bit together, and you can have them in a plastic baggie, a Ziploc bag. This is 4 pouches, so that's the same as a plastic water bottle. As you can see, it's a little bit larger size. And I also have in here 8 pouches in a gallon size bag, so you can put it in your go bag. And if they do leak, they leak inside the bag and not in your go bag along with all of your stuff. So some things to consider with the water pouch. They can be a bit pricey depending on the number of pouches that you buy, but you can get them in different size packs. You can get them from singles to 18 packs, 36 packs, and so on. But they can be anywhere from 50 cents plus each. So they can be starting at 50 cents each and be found online, as well as sometimes you can find them at the military surplus store or brick and mortar stores, but it's rare occasions. So do look online for those. You can keep some of this in your car. I remember having a few of them in a plastic bag. And you can check the pouches when you check your go bags to see if there's any breakdown. But it is a durable pouch. This is a set it and forget it type of a pouch. You can handle it often, and the chances for it to leak are minimal, even though it's still possible. And with that, I do have a pouch here from 2016 that expires here this year in 2021. So I'm going to give you my review through the power of Zoom and television. Put the water into the cup. You can open it and drink it straight from the pouch. That's pretty refreshing. So 5 years in the pouch and it still tastes great. So you can really count on the pouch as well. So the next item we're going to go from the pouch is to the emergency water can. Now, this is the most expensive of the options. These do run anywhere from $1 and more, depending on how much you buy at a time. But it combines the long shelf life, that of the pouch, but also the lack of durability, such as the plastic water bottle. But the canned water can be stored for up to 50 years. So my grandkids will have this can of water in their go bag for sure, because it goes until 2071. So it does last a while, but it is an aluminum can. So dropping it, having extreme temperature changes do affect the durability and the shelf life of the product. So keep that in mind. Having a 6-pack can get heavy in your go bag, but 3 or 4 is pretty good for your go bag. It's not too heavy at that point. And it's just about the same amount of the plastic water bottle at 12 ounces. Some things to consider about the can is that, like I mentioned, it is the most expensive at over $1 a can. They come in cases as well as pallet sizes, which is a couple thousand cans, but some of the smaller packs are available, but they are a little bit more expensive. So keep that in mind as you look for them. They can be found online, Amazon, straight from the vendor, as well as sometimes in those hardware brick and mortar stores. Treat this as a soda can. Like I mentioned, it is not something that you can handle it with. So if it gets too hot and you keep it in your yard, gets too hot, it might pop open as well as leak. So if you keep it in a cool and dry place, the can will last, like I mentioned, 50 years. And remember, the go bag is for survival in those initial hours during an emergency, those 3 days. It's not about keeping the normal routine, but do consider if you need more water to function, you have that water available. Keep that extra pack, extra bottle, or extra can in there if you need it. If you take medications, take note of how much water you need to take those doses. The more water you have available, the water or the more prepared you definitely will be. If you have pets, make sure you have water for them too in their go bag, and keep that ready to go as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I'd like to turn it over to Julie Atwood for her take on what to do for your pets. Julie.
Hi, everybody. Jorge, thanks so much. And I just want to add before I start that those little water packets that you talked about, those are absolutely the perfect size to put in your pet go bags, because they're just about the right amount of water for travel bowls and for most pets. And if you have a bigger dog, you can always open more than one. So thanks, Jorge. Everybody, good tip. So today I am with you and we're going to review pet carriers. Now I'm going to show you a lot of photos because I'm not in Sonoma with the rest of my partners. I'm up here in Plumas County, California, where I've been deployed to the Dixie Fire for about the last 5 weeks. I've been staged at the Plumas County Animal Shelter with my teammates from the UC Davis Veterinary Emergency Response Team. That's me on the right with a really cute kitten. And that's me on the left in front of one of the fire information kiosks at the local Safeway with one of our vets and 2 of our vet students. So while we've been up here, we've had plenty of time to talk to people about their pet preparedness. And we've been reminded that you and your pet might be evacuated for a long time, and you might have to evacuate more than once. So it's really important to make sure that when you go, you not only have your go bag all set up for yourself and for your animals, but that you think about how you're going to travel with your animals, get them out of the house and into the car safely, keep them safe and comfy in the car, and keep them safe and comfy when you get to where you're going. So what do you not want to do? You do not want to just grab any old thing. And we have got a cool picture to show you here of what not to do. Don't grab your old baby stroller, and definitely don't just toss your animals into the car where they can jump out when you stop to get gas or you stop to talk to people at a temporary evacuation center. So we want to keep you and your pets safe. So a few things that we want to consider when we're reviewing our carriers are things like what's going to be the safest and the most comfortable for your pet, both on the road and when you get to where you're going and where your pet might be staying for quite a while. And what's going to be safe for you? Are you going to be able to carry them out of the house? Can you get them into your car without wrenching your back or your shoulder or throwing your knee out? Do you have enough room in your car? Are they too heavy? Are they going to be well ventilated? So we've used all of these factors and a few more when we've evaluated our carriers. And we're looking at 3 different types, the types that are the most common, the easiest to get, overall the most inexpensive or reasonably fit into most people or many people's budgets, and they're going to be safe and comfy for everybody. So let's start. Next slide. Okay, so the first carrier reviewing is a wire cage. Wire cages have lots and lots of advantages. So they're going to definitely be the most comfortable for your animals. They work for a wide variety of species, everything from dogs and cats to chickens, hamsters, pocket pets, all kinds of things. So they are portable because you can fold them up flat, meaning they're going to be easy to store when you're not using them. And you might be able to find a good space in your car to put them in when you are preparing to evacuate. When you get to where you're going, your animal's going to be safe and comfy. They're easy to clean. They come with lots of cool gadgets you can get, like water bottles and food bowls that attach and won't tip over. You've got room for a bed and a litter box. It's a nice idea to throw a blanket over the top or a towel to give your pet some privacy. But on the downside, these are definitely the most expensive. They obviously take up more space. They are heavy, even when they're folded up. So you might need a helper or two to give you a hand with these. But altogether, we give these a 4 paws for comfort and safety and for cleaning ease, because the bottom tray slides right out. You can put a pee pad in there or stacks of newspapers with a garbage bag underneath. They are pretty portable because they do fold up and they're pretty easy to carry, but they are generally going to be the most expensive. Overall, if you can swing it, this is going to be your best bet, even if it's not the way you transport your pet, but to have these to set up when you get to where you're going and you're going to be there for a while. So let's look at a couple of the tips that we want to talk about for wire cages on our next slide. So again, with wire cages, you want to line the bottom tray with pee pads, or just take a big stack of newspapers and put them on top of a garbage bag. That's going to keep them leak proof. Newspapers are nice and absorbent, and they're actually kind of warm and comfy too. Pack a towel or a light blanket to throw over the top to make your pet feel cozier and to give them a little bit of security, or also added warmth if you need it. And again, these come in all kinds of sizes, from really small for pocket pets to very, very large for big dogs, small pigs, chickens, or whatever. So let's look at our carrier number 2, the plastic crate. This is probably the most common carrier. Most people find them easy to find, easy to purchase. You can get them new, you can get them in a secondhand store. People often donate them. They come in all kinds of colors. That makes it more fun for you, right? And they have lots of options. So we've shown a couple of different kinds here. Over on the left, we show a carrier that has 2 door options, one from the front and one from the top. Top loading doors are really great for cats and birds, and sometimes for small dogs. It's definitely a lot easier for you to bundle them up and quickly scoop them into their carrier than it is sometimes to get them to walk in. The downside is you really need to make sure that the latch is secure, And if your pet is over maybe 15 or 20 pounds, you probably don't want to hold that carrier by the top loading door handle. You want to try to hold it by 2 hands. You can get larger carriers with wheels on them and handles, just like an airport luggage container. Obviously, this is going to be really great for you, especially if you're going to be loaded down with stuff, or you need one of your hands free to hold a dog on a leash, or a child by the hand, or your luggage. So the wheels and the handles definitely make it more portable for you. But the bigger you go, the more space they're going to take in your car. Animals are really cozy and comfy in these. These are a great way to travel with your animal, but they're not going to be a good long-term option because they're going to be hard to clean. There really is no space for a litter box or for your dog to pee and poop. So they're going to get messy. You're going to need to take your animal out periodically to let them walk or to clean them. And so, of course, when you take them out, you're going to want to make sure that you're in a secure location. So how do these stack up in our review of pet carriers? Well, we give them a resounding 3 paws up. 3 paws up for comfort and safety for both you and your pet. 3 paws up for cleaning ease. You can hose them out, wipe them out with a pet-friendly disinfectant, and they're good to go. You can put them up on a table to clean them. You don't have to be down on the floor. They are really portable. You can move them in a lot of different ways. And they are a little bit more budget conscious than the wire cage. The ideal setup is going to be some type of portable carrier to get your cat or your dog or your bird or whomever your pet is out of the house and into the car. And then when you get to where you're going, you would have something bigger like a wire kennel or a secure room in which you can close the door and put a sign on it saying pet inside, do not disturb. But for portability and short-term coziness, 3 paws up to our plastic crates. So let's just do a review and look at the plastic crate tips. So top load, it's going to be easier for dogs and cats and some birds. You definitely want to make sure that you secure the top and the bottom portions with zip ties. Some of these carriers come with really solid bolts, but those bolts can loosen up over time. So we like to put zip ties in the corner. Nice idea, especially in hot weather, if you have to be in your car for a long time. Take an ice pack or wrap up a frozen water bottle in a towel and tuck it inside to keep your cat cool. To keep your cat or your dog cool. Cats tend to overheat more quickly because they don't pant as effectively as dogs. So the plastic carriers are great in cold weather. They're cozy, but in hot weather, they don't have as much ventilation and they can't get warm. So we want to think about that when we're traveling. Okay, last but not least on our carrier review, the cardboard carrier. These are definitely the most affordable in many places like shelters where you might adopt your pet, or veterinarians or pet stores. They might give these away, or they're very, very inexpensive to buy. So they're also super cozy. These work great for birds. They are wonderful for smaller cats. Not so good for dogs. They're great for tortoises, and they can be very good for big lizards as well. So they're comfy, they're cozy, they're lightweight for you. So those are all the pluses. What are the downsides? What do you have to watch out for? Well, they're cardboard, okay? So they're not going to last very long. It's basically a disposable item. Number 2, they fold up, which means they can unfold, or your dog or cat can scratch out of them really quickly. And an industrious bird can pull these things apart in no time. So if you're using a cardboard carrier, you want to make sure that you have assembled it properly. We're going to give you a few tips, including duct tape them up to make them more secure. So cardboard carriers overall get 3 paws up for portability and coziness. They're not so good for cleaning. They are disposable, and they're not terribly secure. So some tips for using cardboard carriers: reinforce them with duct tape, tape the corners, tape the bottom, and take a sturdy piece of yarn or twine or clothesline. And once you have your pet securely inside, tie the handle with a bow or a knot, something that you can undo easily, but it's going to hold that handle together. Okay, so it can't come undone in your hand. You really need to line these things with something that's waterproof. So again, pee pads or that pile of newspaper with a couple of garbage bags underneath. Garbage bags are great because not only are they going to keep your carrier a little bit more waterproof, but you also have a place to toss all the trash when you're done. So you get a little twofer there. But they're very portable, they're very inexpensive and often free, and they are going to keep your pet cozy. A plus is that when you get to where you're going, if your carrier is pretty clean, you can just turn it on its side, put a blanket in it, and now it's a really cozy, hidey spot for your animal to go get some privacy and even to curl up and go to sleep. So you get a little extra added value there. So to sum up, let's look at our 3 carriers, and we'll have this chart available for you to look at later on. So wire cages, 4 paws up. They are great when you get to where you're going. They're going to be the easiest to clean. They're the safest and most comfy for your animals, and they work for a wide variety of animals. They're not too portable. They take up a lot of space in your car. So they're really not so much of a carrier as they are a comfy evacuation place for your pet at your destination. Plastic crates. These are probably the best when you're on the go. For little pets, they're going to be okay to stay in them for slightly longer. They can get hot. You need to keep them cool and well ventilated. Put them in front of the AC in the car. They're easy to clean out afterward, but your pet is going to get a little bit messy when he pees or poops inside. So 3 paws up for plastic crates. Cardboard carriers, 2 paws up. They're comfy and cozy. They're not too secure. They're very inexpensive and lightweight. They are disposable and they're hard to keep clean. So if you have questions about pet evacuation or you'd like more information about the carriers, you can visit us at halterproject.org and also these other great partners in the North Bay. So thanks for joining all of us. We've loved being with you. Stay safe. And now Dan is going to tell you how to pack it all up.
Good morning, I'm Dan Widger. I may show up as Sam Wallace, but really I'm Dan Widger. When we talk about go bags, and it's what you're going to take all your stuff and put in, think of 3 things: something you can put on your back, something you can carry, or something you can roll. So I just went through my garage and my old camping gear, and here's a pack I've had for probably 15 years. It's good for a day pack. Things to look out for packs is something that has padding on the shoulder. This one's not really good. So personally, I wouldn't want to load more than about 10 pounds into this because it's going to dig into my shoulder. The next one I look at is this one is a hydration pack. I don't really support any particular brand. The cool thing with this is that you can strap on different things on the outside of it. So this would be like for day use. And I checked it and I could load up what I need to survive for at least 24 hours and something like this. It's got pretty good padding, extra padding on the back, and it has a little waist strap. So the way you're going to carry your load with the pack is on your shoulders and then running something around your waist to carry the weight on your hips. So this one would qualify for that. It's going to be good for about 24 hours worth of kit. Having been in the military for 22 years, I still have one of these. This is a hydration pack or day pack. It's got several compartments. I like this one a lot because it's easier to organize things. It has dividers inside. So instead of just throwing stuff into a big pack and trying to dig through it, I can organize it the way I need things. I could put a first aid kit out here. I can hang a water bottle on the side or a canteen. It's got extra things here for strapping on extra gear. It looks small, but when you get this thing loaded up, you can carry like 30 or 40 pounds on this, which is another point I want to talk about. It's one of the presentations I did years ago. A guy said, "Hey, Dan, I loaded up my pack, tried going down the street with it, realized I couldn't carry it more than a block, came home and weighed it. It was 40 pounds. What do I do?" I said, "Well, dude, to be honest with you, you either need to, 1, go to the gym, or 2, get rid of some of the weight in that thing." So he said, "Well, I don't have time for the gym. So cut out stuff if you don't need it." Other great thing, and a lot of these you can get for free. These are little couple gallon buckets. They're 2.5 to 5 gallons, depending on what size you get. The square ones are great because they actually stack and store better. This one had cheese in it. They're food grade, so you can do all kinds of things with this. You can carry, put extra supplies in this and carry it. And if you get tired of carrying it down the street, you can just set it down and rest, change arms or whatever. You're not going to be able to carry this as far as a good pack. If you really want to go crazy, then you want to get like a good backpack. Now this one, I don't endorse any companies, but this one was issued to the Marine Corps. Pretty cool. It's got a really good waist pack here. You can load a lot of stuff in this thing, but it's really easy to overload it, not be able to pick it up. But it's got lots of compartments, lots of things to attach to. This one, you could be really easy to overload it and go, oh, I can't carry that. So think about what you put in these. What I suggest is load up your pack with your stuff, try walking around with it, go around the block, come back and say, you know what, this is fine. I'll leave it like that, or it's too heavy, take some stuff out. The other thing Nancy likes is a carry-on bag. It's got wheels. So you pull up the handle, you can just drag this down the street. So this thing you can load up as much as you want. If you have to carry it short distances, you just pick it up. But you could carry it out and think, I'm going to try to get to my car, but if for some reason I can't, I could drag this down the street for quite a ways. And then if you have to get on a flight, you're all ready to go. Really simple. So think about, practice it. Don't just go out and buy one of the kids packs at one of the cheap stores and stuff if you're an adult, because the kids packs are going to dig into your shoulders, are going to be really uncomfortable. For some people like me, they don't fit at all. They're designed for children. And if you have children or grandkids, get them a pack too and have stuff put in it that they can carry too. So you're not trying to carry everything, give them a little bit, but base it on how much weight they can actually carry. Real short and simple, super, super easy. Any good questions, let us know.
We did have some notes about the water cans, that the cans would be not be able to reseal them once opened. But you do have a longer shelf life on them. Is that right, George?
Getting off of mute. Yes, that's correct. They do have a longer shelf life. Good conditions. They last up to 50 years. And also a thing to note, once the can is open, you can use any time to drink the water, but of course you don't want to just leave an open can for a couple of days. So try to use it within those 24 hours after opening it. But again, once if stored in good conditions, they last for a long time. So keep that in mind as well.
Perfect. Thank you. We also have another question about what first aid kit you suggest. Nancy or possibly Dan, can you weigh in on first aid kits?
Well, we didn't look into those today, but in general, you want a first aid kit that will take care of your very basic things. So if you go online, you can see, I think Johnson & Johnson and a few other people sell a nice basic first aid kit that has Band-Aids, disinfectant, some gauze, some little scissors or tweezers so you can get out splinters or glass or things like that. So one that covers those very basic things. And who knows, maybe in the future we'll do another show and we'll go over first aid kits and look at a few different styles for you. I also put in the chat a link to SoCoemergency.org to give you more information about what else goes in that go bag. So I did see a question about what else goes in the go bag besides these things. So there is some lists there that will tell you, in addition to the food and the water and the other things we've discussed today, what else should go in your go bag at a minimum. I want to remind anybody who has any life-saving medication, please put at least a few days worth of that medication that you rotate in and out of your go bag so that you don't, again, have a cascading disaster. So not only did you have to evacuate, but now you're having a life safety issue as well. And also, if you have things like hearing aids, put some spare batteries in there. Your last prescription glasses, throw those in there so that they can be available for you, so that if you get your glasses or they get broken, you can be able to have as many of your senses available to you as possible in a disaster, because it's always going to be really important for your own personal situational awareness as well as the others. Monica also let me know that we're unable to use the chat feature to attach documents for whatever reason today, so she will be sending out those recap charts to everybody who registered. So you'll be getting that in your email to get those recap charts. So if you didn't catch the information as it came through, you'll be able to take a look at that and review it as you're making decisions for your own go bag.
Excellent. And another thing, if you want to review this program, it will be posted on the library's YouTube page and emailed out to all registrants again later this upcoming week. We had another question about water. What if we want to fill our own metal water bottles? Is there something we can do to keep it fresh?
There's a lot of things you can do. There's little tablets that kind of refresh the water, repurpose the water, disinfect the water. Those are different options, but do consider that not all bottles are the same. While you have the metal body to it, sometimes you do have the plastic cap or top to the bottle, which can, of course, leach into the water. But if it's not done correctly, it could cause mold and bacteria to grow within the water bottle. So to make it easier on yourself, and that way you don't have to go back and have to change the water every so often as well. So make it easier on yourself in putting plastic water bottle, pouch, one of the cans in there, so you know that the water is clean, fresh, right from the source, right from the get-go, and you're not having to switch it out or do some of those different disinfecting type of things in an emergency. You want to have it ready to go.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We had a question again. We probably have time for 2 more questions. I want to thank everyone for coming. We had a question on animals first aid kits. Can we use most items for humans for pets? Julie Atwood.
Hi, I'm so glad someone asked that question. So pretty much most of the things that you have in your first aid kit, you're going to be able to use for your animals. We have a lot of information at halterproject.org, which includes first aid kit items that are specific to various species. So take a look there. Again, that's halterproject.org, but make sure that you have your own personal first aid kit ready to go and as complete as it can be. And most things in it are going to help your pets too.
Thank you, Julie. And then, oh gosh, there's such good questions. Someone asks about cash. Should they put cash or copies of their important documents in their go bag?
Oh, that is a great question. And absolutely. One of the things that we need to remember in Sonoma County is anytime they shut the power out, any service that we might need where they don't have electricity, they might also not be able to take your credit card. So having cash is really important in Sonoma County to be able to do something like stop at the gas station and get some gasoline, or stop at the market and get some supplemental supplies for your go bag. So having some cash on hand at all times is really, really important. You'll need to decide how much cash would be good for you, but absolutely cash is critical. And of course, copies of important documents is always really important. It's easy to store those either as a piece of paper or on a small thumb drive if you have a digital copy of those things, so that if you do have to leave and don't have time to grab some of those things, you will have at least a copy of it. And I would include in that a copy of your own driver's license. Sometimes people leave their home without their wallet. A copy of your own passport, so that if you need some of these other pieces of ID, it's much easier to look up your information if you at least have those numbers and things available for people to be able to use. And in an emergency, very often, those types of copies that you might have available will suffice in the interim while you're trying to get more permanent identification again.
Excellent. Thank you, Nancy. I do want to be conscious of everyone's time, and I want to thank you guys all for showing up and taking care of yourselves and your family members as you prepare in case of a disaster. So I want to thank Nancy Brown for organizing our presenters, Sam, Dan, the Halter Project of Julie Atwood and Shiloh Porter. Thank you, George, and who was talking about water today. And thank you, Julie Burns from the Communication Bridge, for interpreting this program into Spanish. Anything else we have to add, Nancy?
Not a thing, you all. Thank you so much for showing up on a Saturday. I did want to add one little quick thing, and that is an advertisement for our next event we do have coming up on September 25th at the same time, how to home harden. So Cara Leone Stafford is going to be discussing how to get your home ready for wildfire, and she does an amazing presentation. If you've never heard her before, please tune in. That will be again at this same time on Saturday, September 25th. So please look forward to that. Finally, in this series, we do have on Wednesday, September 29th, the screening of a film, Wilder Than Wild, which is a really interesting film about conservation and taking care of our urban interface with regard to fire safety. We'll also have some panelists, including Sam Wallace and Marcia Chibbleville, on hand to discuss some of the different aspects of the film and answer questions about how we manage our wildland in order to be more cognizant of how to keep wildfires to a minimum. So those are two really interesting things coming up. So if you have not registered for those yet, please hop on the website for the library and get registered for those events.
Thank you so much for remembering those. We just have a bunch of programs in mind for September's Emergency Preparedness Month, and really we should be prepared all year round. So thank you for joining us in those programs. That is all we have for today.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.